Good afternoon, everybody. It's David Schlotthauer here in the Home Weather Office with another detailed tropical weather outlook and discussion on Tropical Storm Beryl for Saturday, July the 6th, 2024. As always, my thoughts in this live stream are mine alone, and making any decisions regarding Beryl, please consult the National Hurricane Center and your local officials for the latest information for where you are. So Beryl came off the Yucatan Peninsula nearly about a couple of days ago-ish, kind of that way. And now it's over, hanging out over the Gulf of Mexico, moving pretty slowly than it did just, say, a few days ago when it was moving pretty good. It's only moving at about 10 miles an hour. And we could see the latest shortwave IR, true color visible satellite imagery from Dr. Levi Cowan, showing us where this system is in relation to the Gulf Coast. Here's Florida over here, Louisiana. Sorry, excuse me for that. Not trying to cough. And here's Texas, and here is Mexico and the Yucatan. So it's in the middle there of the Gulf. Kind of not really exactly in the middle, but it's pretty far into the Gulf right now, where it's able to really use up or use a lot of that heat energy coming off the water to better intensify. But there are some hurdles that are preventing that from happening. If we actually take a closer zoomed in view here and play this through, let me load the last few frames up so you all can see. We could actually get an idea that this system is sheared. It's not like what we could see it. You know, we could have a more symmetrical system where we have deep convection wrapping all the way around, but instead we have a sheared system, and you guys may look at this and be like, David, how is it sheared? It doesn't look that way. Well, you're looking at the upper level outflow, and that's kind of a surprise. This is like a deterring look to the system that, oh, it's in a very favorable environment. But if we pay attention to this outflow boundary, you can see it how it kind of goes out. There are some cloud filaments, some lower level cirrus clouds. If you look at those, they're actually moving in towards this system like this. So we do have southwesterly shear of about 30 or about 15 to 20 knots right now. Not super strong, but strong enough for a system that is not able to get organized, or it's having a hard time. So it's not going to be able to do so well in this environment. So remember how Beryl before the Yucatan was able to resist some of that shear despite it being 30, 35 knots? Well, that's because it had a pretty strong inner core structure with a well-defined eye wall that allowed it to remain vertically aligned pretty well. But once a system moves over the Yucatan and it weakens and the inner core breaks down, and then we introduce that shear from the southwest, then, you know, the system's not able to fight off that shear as efficiently, if that makes sense. We're also seeing hints of drier air as well. So again, these outflow boundaries usually delegate to drier air that is moving in. And in fact, there's some blue skies on the southern side of this. There is no convective cloud pattern at all, indicating that the air is really dry in the deep layers. And it's fairly dry. We'll get a recon. We'll look at some drop zones here in just a second, showing you all that. If we take a look at the water vapor imagery, you can see again, this is a look at that from Dr. Levi Cowan. So the brighter gray colors indicate a lot of deep layer moisture, right? So this is just water vapor, and of course some clouds there which indicate a lot of moisture. But this darker patch, see this right there down to the south? That's the drier air that is undercutting the cirrus outflow. So again, for those that are wondering, oh, very good environment, but we also have shear. You even see a little bit here, see the motion coming around. So you have a trough here, you get the flow coming around, and it's undercutting, it's kind of, it's scooping underneath that milky white cirrus there. We also have a good anticyclonic pattern, also very good venting on the northern side of this, which will likely help to kickstart the process of a better organization and a more faster rate of strengthening. Now, when this occurs will be very important. The system's not doing very well right now, despite that deep convection, and the center is still off center. And we can see that from a recon mission from earlier this morning. And sorry if my camera is not working today. Had some issues. Been having a lot of issues with my computer. So no camera today, no face cam, unfortunately. But I will try to work on fixing that in tomorrow's live stream, if necessary, when I do. So here's a look again from the latest recon mission, and we can see these grayer colors right here. This is the mid-level circulation, and you can see the mid-level circulation is closed right about here, and our low-level circulation is right about in here. So we can see that there is an offset to these two circulations based on the tail Doppler radar mission from earlier today. And again, the shear is only at 13 knots. And yes, that is not very strong, but it's also not very weak. And with the system, again, the vortex already being displaced, from, someone said my stream ended. It did not end. Please refresh your stream, folks. YouTube's issue there on their end. Sorry about that. So please refresh your stream if you can, or refresh your YouTube. All right. So looking at the rainfall forecast or rainfall analysis, again, lots of heavy rainfall on the northwestern side of this. Again, hardly anything, if nothing, being indicated on the southern side. So again, this is a very asymmetrical system with a lack of deep convection on the southern side. In fact, when the recon plane flew into the system, it barely found any tropical storm force winds. Winds of only about 30 knots or so. Actually, some of these gray are kind of a teal green colors, bluish, only 20 knot winds. So there's barely any tropical storm force winds, only a little bit here being indicated by the plane. And then their fourth pass indicated that the pressure has risen a few millibars to 1,001 millibars. So based on the looks of this, in the last four passes through the system has not intensified or has not organized any further, which is a good thing. But how long will that be before organization is able to take place? We shall find out, but possibly by tonight or early tomorrow morning, we might see the system move into a better environment. So here's a look at Tropical Storm Beryl. This is the current information, 60-mile-an-hour wind. So it is still a tropical storm, nothing the size of Alberto, by the way. Even so, Alberto was about as strong but the wind field was a lot larger, right? So this is a more compact system still. Hurricane watches are still issued for Texas. Almost said Florida, or I did say Florida briefly. Sorry about that. I guess I'm used to saying Florida after all. So hurricane watches and tropical storm warnings are issued. Now, a hurricane watch means hurricane conditions are possible, but are not likely. And that is because there is a lot of wrinkles in the intensity forecast. It is all about when that system is able to get realigned and restacked for further intensification. Remember, we got to understand, tropical systems are heat engines, and if there's shear, that disrupts the inner core, and we're not able to get the vortex being tilted, is not able to vertically stack. And if we can't get deep convection wrapping all the way around onto the southern side, we cannot get an eye wall that forms. Until that eye wall forms, Beryl is not in a hurry at all to intensify, and it might do so very gradually. So we can see here, hurricane conditions are possible with a hurricane expected according to the NHC by Monday morning. But take note, this cone of uncertainty, pretty fat cone still, even into Texas. So this could still hit southernmost Texas, or could even hit, say, Houston, Texas, for all we know. So there's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of wrinkles in the forecast. And just so you all know, this is not going to be moving a whole lot. I mean, this is not going to make landfall until Monday morning, Monday night in Texas. Yeah, that's a little bit of a time over the warm waters. Has literally entire weekend into Monday, so we pretty much have another 48 hours left before landfall, and 2 days can make all the difference with Beryl. If that shear backs away, we get inner core going, this could intensify pretty quickly because water temperatures in this area are in the mid 80s, 87 degrees to be exact. So yeah, sea surface temperatures not a problem for Beryl at all, and even moisture on the northern fringe. So the chances of tropical storm force winds are as follows. Right now for Houston, Texas, there's a 30 to 40% chance of tropical storm force winds there by Sunday night. If you're in Corpus Christi, there is a 60 to 70% chance of tropical storm force winds, and then a 50 to 60% chance over the McAllen Air Force Base in southern Texas, and tropical storm force winds there come in about Sunday morning. So by tomorrow morning, we may start seeing tropical storm-like conditions there early in the morning wee hours. So here's a look at the key messages on Tropical Storm Beryl. There is an increasing risk of damaging hurricane force winds and life-threatening storm surge along portions of the lower and middle Texas coast late Sunday into Monday, where hurricane and storm surge watches are in effect. A tropical storm warning is now in effect for portions of the deep South Texas, and additional warnings will likely need to be required later today. Interest in these areas should follow any advice given by local officials. So again, I'm not going to tell you to evacuate. I'm not going to tell you that you need to evacuate. You need to follow these orders by local officials and any federal government, like a COP or, FBI if they're out, Coast Guard, that sort of thing. I cannot tell you to evacuate. You have to follow your orders by your local state, okay, and your local county ordinance. Flash and urban flooding, some of which may be locally considerable, is likely across portions of the Texas Gulf Coast and eastern Texas beginning late Sunday through the middle of next week. Rip currents will cause life-threatening beach conditions through the weekend across much of the Gulf Coast. Beachgoers should heed warning flags and advice of lifeguards and local officials before venturing into the water. So we're talking about high surf. We're also talking about coastal flooding because of storm surge. We're also talking about freshwater flooding, folks. This is not a good situation, and you really, really, really need to take it seriously. This is a very wet system. In fact, so wet that if we take a look at our rainfall forecast from the National Weather Service, we can clearly see if you're in Waco, Texas, also if you're in San Antonio, you could be seeing anywhere between 2 to almost 4 inches of rain. For reference, my uncle lives over here, just to the northeast of San Antonio, and he might be getting 6 inches. Anything along this little narrow corridor right here, we're looking at about 8 to as much as almost a foot of rainfall. That is significant. Houston, Texas, Chase McLean, you're over there. You could see 6 to 8 inches of rainfall. And then, of course, along the Gulf Coast here, looking at a lot of rainfall. So there is a moderate risk for flooding for this reasoning. You can see for Waco, Texas, a slight risk for flooding. But look at this. Houston, Texas, right on the fringe there of a moderate risk of heavy rainfall and flooding. Yes, flooding is nature's #1 killer during a tropical storm. Floodwaters could drown people. We could see a lot of fatalities because of flooded waters because people are not prepared. And also, just for reference, electricity and water do not mix. So if we have a live power line hitting the water, it could, the electricity, the water is very conductive to electricity. We could have a lot of electrocutions going on. So stay out of the water, please, when there's flooding in your area, okay? And also there could be toxic chemicals. There could be biohazards in the water, like sewage and this and that. So yeah, stay away from the water. If there's flooded, move to higher ground. Move away from flooded waters, folks. If you're in the moderate or even slight risks of heavy rainfall and flooding on this map. All right, and this is from the Weather Prediction Center that issues these. Okay, and then of course, if you're in Arkansas, off the map, there's a slight risk for heavy rainfall. I can tell you right now in central and western Oklahoma, there is a slight risk of heavy rainfall. Not only for heavy rainfall, but also for storm surge. Let me turn on my air conditioner, folks. It is another hot one here in the office. Ridiculous today. It's supposed to be 115 here today, and it's already 101 outside. So if there's a lot of background noise, that's my air conditioner. I am so sorry about that. I have to stay cool during my discussion. So Galveston Bay 2 to 4 feet, San Luis Pass 2 to 4 feet, 3 to 5 feet in Montagorda. If you're in Corpus Christi Bay, 3 to 5 feet, Buffin Bay 3 to 5 feet, 2 to 4 feet, mouth of the Rio Grande area. So again, that's due to that storm surge that is expected. All right, so another thing we want to look at is our wind field, and we can see, again, anything in orange here is tropical storm force winds, of course, surrounding the entire circulation, but barely on that southern side. But we can see that the system has began to make more of a turn to the north. We're beginning to see that turn, and if that continues, we could see this impact right over Houston, Texas, perhaps even Corpus Christi. We're going to see and wait if hurricane watches get extended further east. Right now, for this time being, hurricane watches are issued just to the south of Houston, also into McAllen there in Texas, where a tropical storm warning is in effect. So this is a look at the latest discussion. As always, I'm not going to go through a whole lot of this, since this is not a Category 5 hurricane, of course, we were dealing with. By the way, Beryl really racked up a lot of ace points. We'll be looking at that in just a second. So recently, a convective burst has developed near the center of Beryl in the northwestern quadrant, and low-level center is for the low-level center is no longer exposed. Tail Doppler radar from the NOAA aircraft suggests that the cyclone has become better aligned vertically during the past few hours, likely due to the effects of that burst. Reports from both NOAA and Air Force Reserve Hurricane Hunter aircraft show that the central pressure is about 997, but we just saw in our last pass about 1001 millibars, with the Air Force plane reporting severe turbulence in the convection. The initial intensity remains 50 knots for this advisory based on the flight level SFMR wind data from the two aircraft. All right, so that's what we have right now. And the intensity is expected to reach 85 miles an hour in about 2 days. So roughly 2 days. And in this case, possibly 60 more hours left over water before it moves on shore. So that's what we're dealing with. That's enough water time. We saw Laura. Laura only spent 2 days over the ocean and was able to really intensify at a hurry. So yeah, we got to really watch this. Sorry, folks, my Elgato camera is not working today. We have to figure out why that is. There could be some issues with the video card. So sorry you don't get to see my beautiful face here in the live stream. There's always a next time, folks. There is always a next time. I'll see what I can do, though. Actually, you know what? I think I unplugged it. That's why. No wonder why David unplugged his camera. Alright, so now you guys know that I have an Elgato camera, right? There we go. So now it works. Now it works. Really laggy a little bit though, but I'm sorry about that. So of course, when we take a look at the latest HAVS-B forecast, we can definitely see. Sorry if my lips do not match with the whole ordeal here with my presentation. I'll work on fixing that later. That's not very important right now. So HAVS-B forecast, this is the deep layer moisture plot, and as we do take a look here, take note of that circulation. This is getting sheared, so your mid-level vortex is over here, your surface vortex is over here, so that's more of a southerly shear that we're seeing. But as we go throughout the next, say, few hours here, let's go all the way into Sunday morning, we can start seeing this curly Q shape. See this curly Q? That's an indication that our vortex, is becoming better aligned. And when we go forward in time, look what all happens. It is able to establish itself. Now, when this happens is very, very uncertain. But if it does happen, we could have a strengthening hurricane moving into the Texas coast. And look at that, 973 millibars. And if we take a look at our winds, that is about 85 knot winds. So that's about 100-ish, close to 100 mile an hour winds onshore. So that's pretty strong. And we take a look at our H-Wharf model. It's a little bit stronger at 971 millibars with winds of about the same intensity once this gets onshore. So there's a little bit of uncertainty in the forecast. You take a look at our HAVS-B forecast, we're looking at nearly 83 knots with a pressure of 973 millibars. Could that get lower? We will have to wait and see. If that inner core is able to develop very quickly, this could organize and develop an inner core and really intensify at a pretty rapid rate with these water temperatures that are really warm. But there's a little bit of uncertainty on how that's going to actually end up happening. Sooner that it happens, the more concerning this actually ends up being. So if we take a look here at the H-Wharf, we can see all that heavy rain. Look at that feeder band right there. Very intense rainfall moving onshore. This is, again, over Corpus Christi, Texas by Monday morning. That's what we know. Maybe some lightning, some water spouts, tornadoes out of this. Yes, this is Texas. No longer Puerto Rico or not no longer Puerto Rico, no longer Jamaica or the Windward Islands. This is Texas, and as this moves onshore, even so the circulation weakens, there is going to be a lot of heavy rainfall spreading inland, well inland into Oklahoma, then eventually into Arkansas, then eventually into Missouri, where that low will eventually fill in gradually. But until it makes landfall, it is going to be a very intense system. So how's everybody doing? Welcome to the stream. 600 people watching this stream. It's an honor that you guys are here watching this. I did want to show you all something pretty cool. There we go. No wonder why. So I did fix my camera a little bit more. Oops. Sorry about this. I'm moving things around. You get to see David working on his PC a little bit, I guess. I got something really cool to show you all. I'm glad you're doing good, Chase. I'm really glad you're doing good. Guess what I got, you all? Guess what I bought? What's up, South Texas Roots? So glad it's headed away from Buffin Bay. Well, we'll see about that, right? There's a little bit of uncertainty, and that's what the NHC cone describes for us. There's that uncertainty still. Pretty big cone that far out. Will this hit Beaumont, Texas? A little. So Beaumont, Texas is, let's see, Beaumont, Texas is I got this. That's what I got. VR headset. And I did flight simulator in it yesterday to fly into Beryl. Oh my gosh. Thing is flippin' real. Flippin' real. It is as real as it gets. I was literally afraid of heights. I mean, I was like, whoa, this is high up. I mean, it is really cool. Oh my gosh. It is freaking cool. Yeah, so this is where Beaumont is. So yeah, Beaumont could certainly get impacted, possibly, by this. I'm jealous. Oh my gosh, you're hilarious, Chase. Only use VR for wholesome things, David. I watched YouTube on it yesterday. It has a movie theater style, so there's actually seats around you. And oh, dude, it was yeah. It was so real. The screen was like in front, and you could literally look around, and there's a projector in the back aiming at this screen as I was watching different YouTubers and everything. Yeah, the thing is so freaking cool. Oh, yeah. Give me a prediction for Victoria, please. So Victoria, Texas. Let's go to Victoria. So for Victoria, Texas, you are certainly going to get a lot of rainfall, possibly some significant flooding out of this. Yeah, the whole disconnection with my camera really messed up the way this is supposed to be laid out, so yeah. Also, Chase, with virtual reality, I visited Houston, Texas on Google Earth Extreme 3D, and oh, I felt like I was actually there. I felt like I was actually there in Houston. It was just amazing. It was just amazing. Can you please explain Houston? So Houston, Texas is over here. So Houston Bay is right here. So there is, on this model on the H-Wharf, there is going to be some light to moderate rainfall that moves through, but again, how close does that system get to Houston is to be announced. There's a lot of variability in the models right now. If we take a look at this model, you can see Houston, Texas gets a lot more rainfall than what the H-Wharf shows. The HAVS A model has it more over Houston, Texas. You can see the rain bands moving onshore, an indication that we are looking at some moderate to heavy rainfall. Yeah, Corpus Christi could get certainly some rainfall and some flood concerns. In fact, if we look at the rainfall forecast, for those that are wondering, here's a look at that forecast. And definitely a lot of rain, even in Houston. Corpus Christi, 4 to 6 inches of rain. It's already raining in Houston pretty bad. Really. Getting that northern stream of moisture. David, will it be another Hurricane Harvey situation? I'm not even predicting that right now. So probably not. Not for right now. The rate of intensification could allow it, but this is not going to stall out. But yeah, it is coming down pretty good in Houston, Texas right now due to some of those thunderstorms. And then the main action is way down here. So this is some thunderstorm complexes over land, but there's going to be more moisture coming onshore. You're very welcome, 40-year-old version. It's already flooding in Houston. Well, and you're going to get more rainfall. Potentially chase probably another 6 or 7 inches of rainfall. But yeah, I just wanted to let you all know that I did get a VR headset. So if you guys are on YouTube and you guys upload, I might be watching some of your videos in virtual reality. Rusty Watersheep, thank you for becoming a Tropical Storm member. By the way, we're almost up to 50 members. 50 members. And actually, I wanted to show you all. Let's see here if I can bring this up. I'm going to give you kind of a highlight of some of the fireworks that I did get really quickly. Kind of a little trailer. So this is what I captured from my drone on 4th of July. I know we should be talking about the hurricane, but yeah, for those members, I have to still process this and make this. But this is what I'm going to be releasing. I know it's not weather related, but gosh, people have got to enjoy the 4th of July fireworks. And of course, you get, there's other illegal fireworks out there from the town of Lodi. So yeah, some cool stuff. Cool stuff. Spyman, thank you for subscribing. I do appreciate that. I really do. So yeah, from the drone, I told you guys I was going to do it. That's why I was not able to stream live via my phone on the fireworks. I think doing it from above is the best way to put it. Hey, you know what? No matter where I go to watch fireworks, if there's a tall building in the way, I can just enjoy it from my drone. I was actually over Lodi Lake, and there was like 5 other drones nearby, so I was like, oh my gosh, there's too many drones, and so I had to fly a little higher. Thank you so much, Jesse. Yeah, huge downpour in Sugarland, Texas. Yeah, so that's what you guys are getting here. So any of the downpours that you're getting are from these thunderstorms. And look at that outflow boundary. So there is some drier air within these storms. That's why you get that outflow. Rusty Water Sheep. Let's take a look at the icon you were asking. If it's very accurate and it's showing an intense hurricane, then that is a possibility. Let's see. Yeah, wow, that is very accurate. Man. Yeah, 981 millibars. It is not as intense as some of the hurricane models, but still it is a low-end hurricane, nevertheless impacting the Houston, Texas area. I got the Mavic 3 Pro drone. Oh, nice, James. Nice. Yeah, I've got the Air 3. Mavic, it's the Mavic Air 3, that is. So, yeah, that's what we will have to, the icon has been really accurate, but at this point we have to kind of start looking at our hurricane models, because they kind of give us an idea of what might happen. and there's different scenarios. The halves A is furthest to the east with its landfall projection, because Houston, Texas could really get slammed with heavy rainfall. You're very welcome, Rusty Water Sheep. Now it's going to be a direct hit in Houston. There is definitely an outside possibility. It's a non-zero chance that there could be a direct landfall. Icon has been doing good on Beryl, but also the halves A and the halves B have been doing just as good too. Yeah, based on this current trend, if we actually go back and look at the wind field, this, if you follow, this is going to probably turn towards Houston at this given trend, because we have seen a right deviation already. System's turning to the right a little sooner. I live in Yokohama, Texas. Should I be worried? Let's take a look. Yokohama, Texas. I would be a little concerned, definitely, because that circulation. Yeah, this is a look at the moderate risk. So yeah, I would be a little concerned, certainly. Pretty concerned, actually, for heavy rainfall and flooding. Tropical storm force gusts, certainly not out of the question. Tropical storm sustained winds, probably unlikely. But what do you all think about my VR headset? Hurricane Alice. So someone was saying Hurricane Alice. Hurricane Alice. 1983, right? Let's see how similar this actually is. Yeah, but look at where its origin was. Actually, that really did intensify fairly quickly because of where it formed. Managed to become a Category 2 before making landfall. So, it is similar towards the end of the track when it makes on... Oh, no, it is a Category 3. Never mind. Wow. Okay, Category 3, 115 mile an hour wind. So, it is sort of similar to Alice, but remember, Beryl's coming from a much lower latitude. Thank you so much. I have the Oculus 3, Quest 3, folks, on it. What about Corpus Christi? Would it increase to Category 3? Jody, when that inner core forms and how much it takes full advantage of the last day and a half or so over the waters is going to be very important. There are some wild outcomes. Some show a strong Category 2. Some models only show a tropical storm. Oh my gosh, Chase, you're gonna educate me now? David, I was speaking of intensity. Yeah, Category 3. Oh yeah, very similar, yeah, in that sense. Pop quiz, David, what was the only tropical storm name to be retired? Oh my gosh. I don't even know. Maybe Chase McLean got retired as a tropical storm? No, I'm just kidding. What's up, Patricia Owens? How are you doing? Welcome. Here's a good, I'm going to educate you all. Chase gave me a pop quiz. I'm going to give you guys a pop quiz. All right, so very tricky question. Very tricky question. When I refer to intensity, I'm looking at a couple of things. Okay. What was the most intense hurricane ever recorded in the world? Was it A, Otis, B, Hillary, C, Tip, or D, was it actually D, Patricia? Actually, I'll make it a little easier. Was it Patricia, Otis, or Tip? Everyone's saying, most people are saying Tip. Most people are saying Tip on that. Oh, man. Most of you are actually wrong. It would surprise you all. It would surprise you all. As far as winds go, Hurricane Patricia is known to be the strongest hurricane ever recorded in the world, slightly outsmarting Tip. Okay? And here's the reason why. So let's compare these two, right? All right, so Typhoon Tip had only 160 mile an hour winds, while Patricia had 215 mile an hour winds. So in relative sense, despite the pressure actually being, or the winds in Tip actually not being as strong, but the surface pressure being the lowest ever on record, I would say in relative sense, Hurricane Patricia takes the #1 spot lead for the most intense hurricane in the world to ever hit a landmass. All right, the pressure on that system was 972 millibars, only 2 millibars higher than Typhoon Tip at 970 millibars. In other words, it was only about 0.05 of an inch higher in mercury in inches in Hg than Typhoon Tip was. So you can think about Patricia takes the #1 spot lead ever in the world to being the strongest, most violent, most destructive hurricane of all time. Beryl will not rapidly intensify. I do agree with that. I don't think it's going to happen, but you never know. You never know. It could still happen. But chances are very anemic because of the way our system is acting right now. You can see it's really sheared right now. In fact, the low-level center is a little bit exposed somewhat. So this is in no griping hurry to rapidly organize yet. David Schlotthauer, Hurricane Wilma is the strongest Atlantic hurricane ever recorded after reaching an intensity of 980. Yeah, I'm talking about the world, though. Rusty Water Sheep. But yes, Wilma. But I think Dorian's the strongest, right? I think Dorian was stronger. Yeah, Dorian was 195 miles an hour. So actually Dorian, based on wind speed, is actually stronger. Even so, the pressure was not that low. So Dorian still takes the lead. Someone said this is still 999 millibars. So yeah, that pressure has went up then, if the NHC is saying that. Please compare Ian to Beryl. Well, Ian impacted a very populated area with pressures that were lower than Beryl. I can say that already. See, okay, so the reason why Beryl was able to attain Category 5 force winds despite the pressure not being as low as Ian is because of the environmental pressure. You all got to understand that the environmental pressure, so let me just put this into, let me see if I could actually discuss this a little bit more clearly. Let's just use a GFS model. So right here in this model, the environmental pressure is roughly 1,013 millibars. Okay, 1,013 millibars. So the lower the environmental pressure, the lower the central pressure has to get to attain a Category 5, if that makes sense. All right, so that's why maybe Wilma had very low environmental pressures of, say, 1,004 millibars or 1,003 millibars, maybe even 1,000 millibars at the time. Okay, versus if you have environmental pressure of 1,020 millibars and you get a central pressure of 1,000 millibars, that's a Category 1 hurricane. That really is, when you think about it. Well, it's only 1,000 millibars, but it's also 20 millibars lower than the environmental pressure. It's all about that environmental pressure, folks, surrounding the hurricane or tropical system that determines how tight the gradient of winds are, called the pressure gradient force, and how low the pressure is. You've probably seen it in a couple of hurricane discussions from the NHC that despite the relative pressure being relatively, or central pressure being relatively high, but the environmental pressure being relatively high, you're going to get a tropical storm or hurricane in that sense, if that makes sense, okay? So do you guys understand that? I didn't lose anyone, did I? I hope not. I don't want to confuse you all, but it is important. Dorian was Category 5 for the longest time, yes. I was using tropical tidbits. I'm using tropical tidbits for my my hurricane models and stuff. Yeah, Soap, that's what it is. By the way, I love your name, Soap. I went to the mall yesterday and some of the soap smelled so good. Look at it, it's building. I bet it will be a Category 3 plus. So, Peak Tweaker, you're probably asking how much my VR headset was. $700! Yeah, I went to Best Buy yesterday and I was looking around for better headphones and stuff because my headphones, maybe they're the issue. And then I was like, you know what's here? VR headsets. So I went to the VR headset area, and I was like, there's one more box waiting for me. There was literally one more box in stock of VR headsets. They were literally almost sold out. I'm like, why not? Let's pay the $700 and buy one of these. So I got the last one. So there's no more over there yet until their next shipment comes in. Yeah, there's a Bath and Body Works. We were at the mall yesterday in Stockton, and we went to Bath and Body Works, and whew, some of the soap. I still got some of the fragrance on my skin. I can still smell some of it, some of the cologne and stuff I was trying out. The Apple VR is $4,000. Are you kidding me, James? Whoa, really? Okay, it is. Whoa. $4,000 for that. Oh my gosh. How is that even possible? Man. By the way, if you guys are new and you guys like the content, consider sharing, liking, and subscribing. You guys are very awesome. The MetaQuest, well, the one that I bought was more expensive, Andrew. Because I had to get the Quest link. It's this cable right here. See this? That's the Quest link. So I can plug it into my computer and actually fly into hurricanes. By the way, raise your hand in chat. Raise your hand in chat if you guys have a VR headset. And what kind of VR headset do you all have? Probably none of you do. It's about 100 degrees outside my house right now. It's freaking ridiculous. There it is, 100 degrees. Ugh, yucky, yuck, yuck. John! What's up, John 542E? How are you doing, my guy? I upgraded my Samsung. You said something with Samsung. I have a Quest 3. Let's go, David Delangado. I have the Quest 3. I have, you know, you saw it, you guys, earlier. I upgraded to the Samsung Galaxy S24. Oh, you're an Android guy. I don't trust. I don't know. I feel like Android's a bit not as secure as Apple is. I think Apple's a little bit better, I feel like. Where's a hurricane gonna go? Well, you see it on the map there? You got hurricane watches out for Texas. Hurricane watches out. By the way, what's up, Fate Clover? So no one's really raising their hands in chat, which means only 1 or 2 people have a VR headset. I got an old-fashioned headset, laughing out loud. So you do have a VR headset, probably the older version, Dawson. Oh, what about the other storm that's out there? No, that did not turn into anything. NHC up. It is now officially 100. About 100 degrees outside. Look at the dew point in my area. 70 degrees. Ew. Ew. 70 degree dew point. Oh, it's so disgusting outside. It is disgusting. I'm in the cone of uncertainty. Oh my gosh, yes you are, John. You are in the cone of uncertainty. You're just like California over here. What about, what can Central Texas expect on I-35 corridor with regard to rainfall, winds, tornadoes? So the Central Texas, you're going to get the backside based on most of the model guidance. So you're more than likely going to get more stratiform rain or a couple of wraparound shower activity. Maybe a brief spin up or two, but most of that actually occurs on the southeastern quadrant of the storm's motion. So what you're most likely going to see is just some stratiform rain, maybe some convective thunder activity as well. Is Houston cooked? DJ asked. There's a potential that Houston could be severely impacted by this. If we just look at the halves A model, that's what you all are going to be getting right there. See some of these intense convective showers? That's where you can see water spouts. And then eventually this gets into Missouri, and boy, Missouri can get quite a bit of rainfall out of this. You're very welcome, Bill Adams. What about Napoleonville, Louisiana? So Napoleonville, Louisiana is likely to get some pop-up showers and storms, some breezy winds, that sort of thing. Nothing too extreme over central. If you're in far western Louisiana, then you have a better chance of getting bigger impacts than in eastern Louisiana. You're very welcome, DJ. By the way, DJ, do you have a VR headset at all? Oh, we got a new output from the National Hurricane Center. Let's see what they say. Let's see what their public advisory is saying. 4 p.m., 60 mile an hour winds. Wow, they're holding the pressure at 997 millibars. Hurricane warning is now in effect for the Texas coast from Baffin Bay northward to Sargent. So pretty much in the same areas is where we're seeing that. So right now, there is a hurricane warning issued. Okay. We're going to wait for the complete discussion. That is, oh wait, yeah, here's the latest discussion. So Beryl's convective organization has increased since the last advisory, with a ragged band forming in the western semicircle. However, this band is best organized around what appears to be a mid-level center to the north or northeast of the low-level center. Earlier aircraft data indicated that the maximum winds were near 50 knots and the central pressure was in the 997, 990 millibar range. And since that time, various objective intensity estimates have shown little change. Thus, the initial intensity remains at 50 knots. The next aircraft missions into the cyclone should arrive around 23 to 0Z. Beryl is still being affected by shear and dry air entrainment, which helped produce a large arc cloud that was visible for most of the day to the south and southwest of the convection. So again, what they're saying here is that the arc cloud, what we talked about is those thunderstorms, they try to develop and they collapse. And we can see that right there, very, very organized arc cloud. Indication that there is dry air in this in this area. And so when we go back and look, that's what they're talking about. So, and the initial motion is now 310 degrees, so it is turning to the right even more at 11 knots. Water vapor imagery continues to show a developing mid-latitude trough over the central United States that is opening a break in the subtropical ridge over Texas. Beryl should move northwestward for the next 24 hours or so, then gradually turn north and move into the break. This motion should lead to the cyclone making landfall on the Texas coast between 36 to 48 hours. Recurvature to the northeast is subsequently expected after 60 hours, 72 hours. There has been a little bit of a northward shift in the guidance and track due to mainly to a more northward initial motion. While this has produced only a small change in the forecast landfall location, the landfall time is now a few hours earlier than in the previous advisory. It should be noted that some erratic motion could occur tonight due to possible center reformations. All right, so that's another thing that we have to consider. While Beryl remains in an area of southerly vertical wind shear and mid to upper level dry air, the convection has been persistent during the past several hours. The shear is forecast to decrease by Sunday morning, which should allow the Beryl to re-intensify as shown by all of the guidance. The intensity forecast calls for Beryl to regain hurricane status by Sunday or Sunday night and to reach an intensity of around 75 knots near the time of the Texas landfall. This intensity is based on the hurricane, which have a landfall intensity ranging from 65 to 85 knots after landfall. So the system is still expected to be 85 miles an hour at around landfall. So that has not been adjusted upward at all. So they are not forecasting rapid intensification, which is good, but they are expecting re-strengthening to occur during that time. So we have to consider that as well. There is some chances re-strengthening will occur in the next 24 hours. So let's take a look here at the storm surge forecast, and there it is. So now we have Sabine Pass and Cameron in Louisiana, 1 to 3 feet of storm surge. And we're looking at 4 to 6 feet of storm surge now over Montagorda, so a little higher now than the last advisory because confidence has increased. So storm surge, definitely a big issue with this one. And let's take a look here at rainfall forecast. So the rainfall forecast is pretty much unchanged, with Houston is looking at 4 to 6 inches of rainfall. Now, just to the southwest of Houston, you could be looking at 8 to 12 inches of rainfall. So a lot of rainfall. Waco, Texas, 2 to 4 inches of rainfall. Little Rock, 4 inches of rainfall is expected with this. So again, we are looking at a hurricane warning now. Hurricane warning is now issued, and there's now a 100% chance that the Texas coast will see the hurricane conditions or tropical storm conditions. And looking at this a little more deeply, we could see, let's go to there. There we go. That's what we wanted. A hurricane warning is issued now. So code red situation, folks. Code red, hurricane warning issued for Monday, right before landfall, for Monday late morning into the early afternoon hours. And this is now expected very close to Houston, Texas. So it looks like now hurricane watch still for McAllen Air Force Base in Texas. Yeah, code red. That's what it's showing here. Do you evacuate for a Category 1 hurricane? It depends on your preference, Cabine. I'm drinking a code red right now. You're funny. So yes, so some heavy rainfall and some flood concerns, definitely a huge issue. It's going to build just watch. Well, I'll be waiting patiently, but we are really going to have to see if this is able to rapidly organize tonight. But that shear is not, more than likely by late tonight, it should really regroup quickly and develop an inner core. And depending on when that occurs, will really be dependent. We're looking at early Monday morning. So, yeah, there's a 90 to 100% chance of tropical storm-like conditions in southeastern Texas. And there's a moderate risk for heavy rainfall. So keep that in mind. Moderate risk for heavy rainfall. What's up, Molina Rowe? How are you doing? Welcome back. What's up, Ban Everything? Interesting. Ban everything on what your how you get things to power up. I wanted to let you know, Ban everything, I got a VR headset, virtual reality, Oculus Quest 3. I don't think it's going to be bad. Well, that's an understatement. That's an understatement. You don't think it's going to be bad. What if it rapidly intensifies and you'll think different after that? But yeah, there's the eye. Moving on shore, a little cute eye. That eye does try to briefly form too on the H wharf. Definitely see a bit of a clearing in the forecast. So that's going to be interesting to see if that actually happens. Is Corpus Christi going to get hit? Most likely, yes. Hurricane warning is issued. If you're in a hurricane warning, everybody. So let's go back and look at this. So if you are in a hurricane, let's actually go to the National Weather Service. That's a little bit better. So if you are in a hurricane warning, you're going to need to take shelter. You can see, and evacuate if necessary. This is going to get upgraded from the National Weather Service here in just a little bit. But there is a hurricane warning out already for Bay City. So you're going to need to take this seriously. All right. And here's a look at the rain amounts from Corpus Christi. Port Lavaca, 8 to 10 inches of rainfall. And of course, storm surge, hurricane warning is already issued. And gusts up to 100 miles an hour. And a storm surge watch, that will likely become a warning soon. So they're going to need to update some of these products. Let's see what Houston, Texas is talking about. Yeah, they don't have as fancy graphics as other NWS, but they do pretty good. Which, by the way, if you look at the map, look at the west. I just wanted to show you all this really quickly. The west is definitely cooking out there with some hot temperatures. Really hot. And our dew point, look at our dew point, 71 degree dew point. Oh my gosh. The dew point is ridiculous. The dew point is insane here. It's like Florida outside right now. See how hot Death Valley is. 124 degrees already. Yeah. Entire state of California is under an excessive heat warning or a heat advisory. The entire state of Nevada is under a... Man, there's a red flag warning, but excessive heat warning, excessive heat watch, red flag warnings over there. Oh my gosh. Just the entire West, dude. Just the entire West is absolutely insane. Here's a temperature humidity wind index. Feels like 108 outside right now. Feels like 108 degrees. How about that? How do you guys like 108 degrees? Feels like that. Oh, it's so humid outside. There's no wind at all. To make matters worse, there's no wind at all. It's been super hot and muggy in Houston. Yeah, I guess we're stealing some of your humid and hot weather. Beryl has a mind of her own. It's a he, I think. I'm just kidding. It's a she. It's a she storm. It's a she storm. She is mean. Can you do Sugarland? Sugarland. That's Sugarland, Houston, Texas. So, yeah, you're under a moderate risk of heavy rainfall in Sugarland, Texas, in Houston. Your prediction for Morgan City, Louisiana, every update is shifting more and more east. So Morgan City, which is over here, Morgan City. You're probably Morgan City, Louisiana. So it's shifting more east. So right now, likely, you're not in any danger. You might get some minor heavy rainfall, but the worst of it is going to be to your east, to your west. Most of it's going to be to your west. Yeah, I don't know what is up with Houston, Texas this year, getting quite a bit of impacts. You got that derecho back in May, or late April, early May. And now, what are you dealing with? A hurricane? What the heck? 92 feels like 103 here in Bunkie, Louisiana. I hate this humid heat. I know. I know, buddies. That's 101 right now. Dew point, you can see it, folks. Dew point, 70 degrees. And I'm not joking. This is a Davis weather station. Davis Pro. So it's a very accurate station. And dew point of 70 degrees. Oh, that is miserable. And I get to work out in it. I get to work out in it. Dry heat is better, I agree. Dry heat is a lot better. Oh, wow. Shot up to 101.3 with a dew point of 71 degrees. Feels like 110 outside here. Feels like 110. That's ridiculous. You also want to know how hot it is in Redding, you all? Guess how hot it is in Redding, California. for those 400 people that are watching. I know I'm taking my focus away from the tropics, but wow, the heat is really irritating. Redding, California. Not Reading, Pennsylvania or anything. Redding, California. Okay, I'll give you guys the answer. It is 119 degrees right now. According to the airport weather station, it's 121 degrees now. But in relative sense, we're averaging things out. It's about 118 degrees. 118 degrees there in Reading. And yes, I'll tell you what, the average high for Reading this time of the year is 99 degrees. And it's 120, 119 there. That is highly, highly unusual. And get this, the humidity there is 3%. The humidity there is 3% with a dew point of 25 degrees. Man, you get a fire in that, it's gonna be a big problem, I'll tell you that. And look at right here. It's freaking ridiculous today. Whew. Yuck. $103 here now? What? It's jumping up. Yup. 102.7. Oh my gosh, it just gets hotter and hotter by the minute. And I get to work out in that, folks. I'm excited. I'm going to get dehydrated. I'm going to get heat stroke. I'm going to do it on purpose. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. I thought the National Weather Service was joking around when it showed 120 degrees in the forecast there for Reading. No, they were not joking around. It's 120 degrees there. 120 degrees at 2 o'clock. The hottest time of the day is not until 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the afternoon. Could hit 123 there for all we know. Man, that's as hot as Death Valley. Alright, folks, I'm going to head off. This was a fairly short live stream. Nothing too extreme with this, other than it's going to be a hurricane once it hits Houston, Texas. Yes, Redding, California. Look it up. Type in Redding, California temperatures, and then you'll get your... Actually, we can look it up right now. Redding, California, weather. Simply put weather, and it's 116 degrees right now. Forecast high is going to be 118, 119 there. But too bad, so sad, we're already there as we speak. So, yeah. Now, I want to ask you guys this question really quickly before I head off. I should know this answer. I'm being a little dumb here, but I want to see if you guys know this answer. All right? It relates to temperature. Why is it that every time the temperature shoots up here where I live, the dew point drops really quickly? So it drops suddenly, but then the temperature will level off or drop a little bit, but your dew point comes way up. And speaking of that, you guys, I mean, we're in California. I live in California. Why is our dew point this high? The air aloft is dry. I know this, but why is it so humid where I'm at? Like, why? I don't understand it. I want to see if you guys know the answer. I just don't get it. I mean, I don't know about dew point yet. Okay. Well, the dew point temperature is at which 100% humidity occurs. So if you drop the dew point or drop the air temperature to 68 degrees, you get 100% humidity. It's pressure and humidity. You are the expert, Dave, probably. Trade winds off the ocean water, but our water temperatures, Heidi, are in the low 50s. It does not make sense. I don't like the air coming off the... I mean, we don't even have an onshore breeze today. We don't have an onshore breeze, so there should be no reasoning why it's this muggy. Looks like an inner core is trying to develop a little bit. Maybe it's some of you guys. You're making it humid for my area. I'm just kidding. Man, this is really, really serious heat. Oh, okay, barometric pressure. No, it's not that. It can't be that. It's not that at all. It's got to be something else. The only thing I could think of is irrigation, but I don't know how that can cause the dew point to be so high. All I know is it's miserable. I am not excited. I'm in Texas, not California. Ban Everything says the normal average temperature of the Earth is actually 2 degrees higher than the current global average. We're on the edge of a shift to an ice age. What about Fresno? See about Fresno, how warm Fresno is. It's about 109 there right now. Look at this dew point, 115 and a dew point of 70 degrees. 71 degrees, oh my gosh, that's gotta be petrifying. That's gotta be petrifying. That air is very stagnant. Even in the Bay Area, it's in the 90s. That's freaking ridiculous. Let me see how warm it is in Texas. Let's go to Texas. Why not? Which, by the way, Death Valley, which is over here somewhere. Wait, Death Valley. Where's Death Valley? Okay, right here. There's no weather station there on Weather Underground, but I can tell you it's over 125 degrees right now. Yeah, no wonder why people are complaining about the heat. Hey, I would rather be in Texas right now, in Monte Gorda, where it's 92 degrees and the dew point of 75-ish degrees. That's not as bad as where I'm at. Honestly, I can take that. Gosh, Houston, Texas is actually cooler than where I'm at, but it's also more humid. Look at some of these temperatures here. 70 degree dew point and 101 degrees. Come on, that's like California heat right now. It's actually not any worse. So yes, I can understand why a lot of you are complaining about the heat. There's no doubt about that. Florida really hot as well. And there is our tropical system down to the south that is working its way north. Okay, you all. Thank you so much, Candy HR. Yeah, thank you, Sabrina. Yeah, I'm getting tired of this heat. I'm really, really getting tired. I mean, seeing temperatures in Redding. I mean, look at these temperatures in Redding, California. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, 122 degrees. 122 degrees in California. I mean, come on. Come on, that doesn't make sense. I mean, look at the temperatures along the ocean. Really hot. It's freaking miserable. That's 102 degrees. Lovely. And that heat index is only going higher. Man, that is just disgusting. There's no wind at all. I mean, there's just no wind to mix the air up. It is so disgusting. Well, I guess we get to have Texas weather. That's like oven, yep. Cook an egg, I do agree, Brian Track Hurricanes. What's the temperature there right now, Brian Track Hurricanes? You're near Austin, Texas, correct? So you're probably seeing temperatures probably in the 90s. Man, look at this. 97 degrees on the ocean. 97 degrees. Holy mackerel. Look at this. 106 degrees. Wow. And get this water temperatures along the water temperatures are in the mid 50s. And we're getting temperatures that hot. That is ridiculous. Oh, good, it's 112 degrees where I'm going to be working. That's exciting. That is exciting. And look at this temperature shoot up. Man, 103, that's freaking ridiculous. See what the latest HRRR shows? Still wants 112, 113 degrees. That's probably going to happen. All right, I think that's all with the heat. The IR satellite loop is clearly showing intensification. Don't you think it is starting to wrap with more intensification? It's trying. It's trying. It's very hard to tell. Oh, I gotta go, you guys. Family is here. Thank you all for watching today's live stream. Have a great one, folks. Stay cool. And I'm gonna stay cool myself. I'm not sure about how I'm gonna live and survive with this hot weather where I'm working at. All right. Thank you all for tuning in today's live stream. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Please subscribe if you guys are new. Thank you all for watching.